Hello, everybody. Welcome to a live recording of Money with Friends. I'm Joe. This is Bobbi. We are here early. I've got coffee. Bobbi, you got coffee?
I actually do. And you know what? It's in my Eternal Optimist mug that I was given after
Look at
speaking.
you.
I was given this as a gift in a speaking engagement back in the day. There were humans in the audience, and we would go and we would speak, and they would give you little gifts for speaking. Also money, but they would give you gifts too.
Yes.
Yes.
The money's good.
That money thing. Remember when we earned a living or part of a living to giving speeches and moderating panels in person with people?
I am at Cheryl's uncle's house. He's a retired professor who's, by the way, he's nearly 90. And when I turn 90, I want to be as young as this guy is. Cause as you can see, he reads all the time. He's got books. Those
are real books, by the way. That's not a fake background.
No, there are books and books and books. I could move the thing and you'll see bookshelves here, bookshelves there. So I'm back in his library. But anyway, he also lent me a mug. He's a retired structural engineer. So a foundation structured for your success. Get it? Don't you love engineering jokes at 7:45 in the morning?
They're almost as good as dad jokes.
So good. I think this is a dad joke. Isn't this a dad engineer joke right there? Structured for your success.
Probably.
So yeah, Cheryl's dad was a civil engineer also, and she said they would go on family vacations, and every time they would cross a bridge that was moderately cool, they would have to stop, and her dad would take them through how the bridge was built. She's just, poking her eye out. So, good morning, Kevin. Morning, Ron. We got both channels fired up this morning. We've got YouTube going, Facebook going.
Now, are we on the Money with Friends Twitter? I think we are.
We are, yes.
Yes. So if anyone is seeing us on the Money with Friends Twitter, say hello. That's a little harder because it just goes right by like a tweet.
Yes.
So I think that's harder for people to catch.
I'm also going to start putting this on the Average Joe Money Twitter too.
Oh, you know what we can do? Wait, let's just stop. I think what we can do, I'm going to try to do this. I can go on our Twitter account and retweet it from my personal account. So I'm going to do that. And you could do that with Average Joe Money. Just go, let's find it.
What?
This is a live experiment.
It's great TV too, by the way.
This is great TV, learning to use your new thing. So I'm finding our show. I'm going to like it and I'm going to retweet it on my account. So now go on Twitter.
Money Friends Pod.
And then just retweet it.
Oh,
when you're logged in you just retweet it. And then people will see it on your account too.
I love the fact that it captures us in the best ways. You've got your eyes closed like you're eating a lemon, and I'm looking off like this.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
No idea.
We should just go like this and like pose for photos at the beginning for a while, just so it can get a good screen grab. You know who does that? Patrice Washington, back in the day when they were speaking things. Patrice, who's fantastic. She will go, she says, I don't look pretty when I'm actually speaking. So what I like to do is if you want to take pictures of me speaking, I'm going to do some poses where I look prettier at the beginning. Have you seen her do this? And she'll pose. So people take pictures of her looking prettier. And she poses in things that are like fake speaking poses, so that she looks better, because she says, when I'm actually speaking, you get me in this terrible looks. And so she encourages people to take pictures before she actually starts her presentation.
Wow.
So we should do that.
We should do that. We can take pictures at a time. Okay, everybody take some pictures of us.
Yes. Well, our YouTube channel, which I hope everyone is subscribed to, we're now starting to put up, thumbnails, I guess. So those are an improvement.
Are you on the right internet, Bobbi? Because I don't know if it's me, but I'm getting mechanical.
I'm probably not. I am, but I can do that. Let's see.
Because it could be me. It could just be me.
Well, I'm going on my phone now. Let's see if that.
I don't know whose internet that is. Well, that's definitely not better, is it? Now she's got, Ron, I think it's me. it's funny as we're doing this traveling across the country, I have different internet wherever I go. So I can't, what am I going to do? Tell her or tell him to change his internet for me for a couple days while we're here visiting. So after this, tomorrow, by the way, in the Where's Waldo, Where's Joe, we are headed to Texarkana, Texas, to visit friends, and then we'll be there for a couple days before we head west. And I'm going to go to the Guadalupe Mountains, and then I'm going to Carlsbad Caverns, and then I'm going to Saguaro National Park, and now she's really gone. She's completely gone now. So she'll be back in a second. So the Sonora Desert Museum, and then finally to Palm Springs, where I'll be for a month. We're going to go to the Cheryl's goal is to get all the national parks. So we're going to get 6 in this one. And what's funny is she's got a big milestone birthday coming up, and we're going to be in Death Valley on her milestone birthday, which is pretty damn funny. So that's going to be good. So we're getting Saguaro, Carlsbad, Guadalupe, and then we're getting the Channel Islands, the Channel Islands, Joshua Tree. There you are. And then what's the last?
I don't know
one?
what was going on.
Getting one more. Death Valley. Duh. There it is. All right. It was me chatting with people here. The issue is just my internet. Just
okay. Well, now I'm on the hard wire, the Ethernet that my fabulous husband set up. So the question is, did we start a new stream? In which case I'm going to share it again on Twitter.
Nope, we're still in the same stream.
We're in the same stream. Okay.
All right. Everybody ready to do this? By the way, Bobbi, so let's do yours first. We're going to do our behind the scenes planning right now. And then 1, 2, 3. What if we just go down to let's just go down to that gauging a recovery video. So if you do the first 3 paragraphs, I'll do the second 3, and then we'll just chat about it.
So what do I stop after?
Stop Amazon? After. However, sophisticated investors are expressing their cautious views.
Okay. Oh, and that is a line that I put in bold. That's an important line, everyone. So listen to that last line that I'm going to say.
And then I'll just do the next 3, and we'll stop there. I don't think we need.
Okay, good. And
good stuff.
So I messed up the backup audio recording last time. So on that note, I'm going to remind you to do the backup audio, the one that I messed up.
Yeah, got it.
Okay.
And then one on mine. I'll read the first 3 paragraphs. Actually, there's only 5 paragraphs total. So why don't I read the first 2 paragraphs, and you go ahead and take it from there.
Okay, it's going to be Saturday, September 5th.
September 5th, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So we're doing the 5th for years. Okay.
All right. It's September.
Hey, Amika. Elle's with us.
Hi, Elle.
We have royalty here.
Ooh.
With the famous Couple Money Show.
Yeah.
All right. Let me. Okay, I am in tab hell. There we go. Okay, Bobbi.
Hi, Kelly.
Let me hit record. This is for, what'd you say? The 5th. This is for September 5th, guys. Comment below and be a part of the show. Here we go.
When it comes to the stock market, the pros are bracing for a market crash, but retail investors not so much. We'll share the warning from a top market watcher. It is Saturday, September 5th. Let's talk money with our friends. Welcome to the Money with Friends podcast. I am certified financial planner, Bobbi Rebell, host of the Financial Grown Up podcast, coming to you from my very grown up kitchen in New York City.
And coming to you from my mom's half-finished basement in East Lansing, Michigan right now, where we're making Stacking Benjamins episodes. I'm Joe Saul-Sehy.
This is the Money News Show that includes commentary on recent headlines and stories with thought leaders from across the financial landscape. We break those stories down into what matters to you, our friends, and we leave you with the takeaway to make it your own.
Today's show is brought to you by Tiller Money. If you are hanging out with us, head to tillerhq.com/MWF. And not only will you be able to optimize your financial life in Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel with fast automatic transaction imports, easy templates, and a free 30-day trial, but you can also use our link and tell them that we sent you. Head to tillerhq.com/MWF. We're doing this live as usual. I've already had a little bit of internet wonkiness, Bobbi. So we're gonna make it through though, because the markets are also getting wonky. This thing does not go down. I think there's some young investors who think the market just doesn't go down. It goes up all the time.
Well, it did go down last spring. And it was kind of scary. And so it just shows people have very short memories. Very short.
I think so, which could, I don't know, when the other shoe finally drops, that might end up being ugly. Let's talk about how people are getting ready. But first, let's see which one of our friends is going to help us kick off today's discussion.
And you know, people are getting ready. You say that, but apparently people are not. So this headline, I think, comes to us from MarketWatch. It is by Sean Langlois, which I always mispronounce, so I apologize. The pros are getting ready for a market crash. Retail investors, not so much, top economist warns. And the story starts actually with a quote from Mohamed El-Erian. A large market correction, should one materialize, would encourage more professional selling that could overwhelm the buy the dip retail investor. That's Mohamed El-Erian, Allianz's chief economic advisor, explaining in an op-ed for the Financial Times how action in the options pits should be taken as a warning by retail investors who have been cashing in on the stock market's relentless push higher in recent months. And the quote is, quote, "The seemingly endless rally gives the impression that prices are endorsed and supported by the entire professional investment community," he said. After all, despite the vocal concerns over valuations having split away from underlying corporate and economic fundamentals, few fund managers have been willing to challenge the market by placing outright shorts. However, quote, "sophisticated investors are expressing their cautious views with the use of derivatives," and El-Erian says the mom and pop types should take note.
It's hard to overstate the extent of today's risk-taking in U.S. financial markets, he wrote, pointing to the explosive moves in a small number of high flyers such as Apple, Tesla, and Amazon. Much of this could be seen as market deepening were it not for one troubling fact. Corporate and economic fundamentals have yet to reflect a sustained and convincing recovery from COVID-related damage, he said. The rebound in consumption is slowing. Initial jobless claims are back to the 1 million level for a second straight week. Bankruptcies are rising. And according to El-Erian, it's looking like these short-term disruptions are about to become long-term scars. Rather than a well-thought-out bet on the future, stocks reflect many investors' resolute faith in a consistently favorable and predictable liquidity environment, he wrote. It's a backdrop anchored by reliable stimulus from central banks. And what he's saying there, Bobbi, is that because of the fact that we've got so much money printing going on, the investors are just saying, hey, the government's got our back, man. There's more and more money coming out, so we're good. Things are going to be good. It turns out professionals looking at the options environment say, maybe not so much.
Right. And he goes on to talk about the fact that there's a lot of FOMO going on, fear of missing out among retail investors, which is probably valid because who wants to hear about your neighbors making so much money in the stock market and you pulled your money out, let's say in March? I mean, I know you say people seem to have forgotten about that. I remember it. I thought it was really scary. And I think that I'm pretty good emotionally. And we talked about it on this show that I wasn't as risk averse as I wasn't as risk tolerant as I had thought I was. As I get, I'm in middle age now, so retirement not imminent, but it's out there, and it gave me pause. And so I think if we're honest with ourselves, very often, even though we can talk about, we've got people in our audience here, we're recording this live, talking about the fact that individual investors should stick to their plan and stay the course. Absolutely. But we're also human. And so I think it's important to be honest with yourself. You've got this, are you putting more money into the market because of FOMO? And it's not necessarily sell or don't sell. It's what can you do to mitigate your risk. is what I think this article is saying. That there's not a lot of it's not so much about shorting the market where you can really get killed. It's about maybe using the derivatives market to put out whatever products are appropriate. And it's early in the morning where we're recording this, so I don't want to misspeak. But whatever options or put calls you can put out to basically protect yourself and give yourself some cushion.
Yeah, and there's a reason why I roll my eyes at this a little bit, because pros have different motivations than you and I do. You and I are looking for a single goal that's a long-term goal that we're trying to reach with our money, right? Maybe 2 or 3 goals that we're trying to reach. But somebody who's a pro is, number one, trying to keep their job. And if you're trying to keep your job, your goal is, Bobbi, if the market tanks tomorrow, you can't get very far behind your benchmark. Every pro and every organization has a benchmark that their boss or their organization says, you need to beat that thing. Like, this is your goal. And you know what? You're not going to get fired if you miss it by a little bit, which also a lot of studies show that's partly the reason why so many managers, active managers, miss the index. If the index does better, is because they're clinging to the index so that they keep their job. They're not taking any bets. You and I also don't need to take a bet, because we know that we're not investing for tomorrow or next week or to keep our job next month. We might be investing, like you are, for 15 years in the future. So if you're investing that far in the future, who cares what the market does over the next day or two?
Yeah, I love the fact that you pointed out the difference between the goals of a quote professional who is has certain goals that they need to meet to keep their job, and an individual who's saving for retirement. But I do want to also point out that we should all think of our money as having different buckets, and make sure that your retirement bucket is doing the things that you just talked about, Joe, but also thinking, maybe you're going to have other life goals like paying for your children's college, or paying for, a down payment on a house, or whatever it may be, whatever that goal is, and that those buckets are kept in the appropriate risk, but whatever, that you have the appropriate amount of risk for those buckets, that
Sure.
Not all of your money necessarily is for retirement. Some of your money might be for other goals. And so make sure that you've got that separation in mind and that you're taking care of that. We've got people in our audience here, very active audience today, talking about really diversification. We've got Emmett talking about gold. We've got the capitalist consultant talking about cash, increasing fixed income allocations. I think thinking about those things is really good, and figuring out what works for you. You don't have to be 100% invested in a passive index fund.
No, but here's the problem with prepping for a cash. And I love the stuff that Sean Langlois, and we use his pieces, I swear, I feel like once a week. Sean writes such good stuff, but he also has to write a headline that sells. And the headline that sells here is, should I be worried, right? Should I be worried about where the market goes? Is there something I should be doing? Should I be making one of these moves that people are talking about as we record this? And the scary thing about that is, you and I have both seen people, pros and amateurs alike, that have been prepping for a downturn for the last 7 years, and we haven't had it yet. We still haven't had it yet. I mean, Len Penzo, who's on Stacking Benjamins once a week, has said he missed out on a huge amount of money because 5 years ago he was sure it was going to finally go down, and he capitulated. And for 5 years, he's at a market that just continued to march up and up and up and up. So,
yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah,
but
betting the market's
have the
going to go
cash
down
to live your life, though. Like, if you think about, if you lost your job and you're a partner, if you have a partner or other family members that you have financial ties to, if everyone lost their job, and people did have that situation happen recently where they were in industries that they thought were foolproof and the entire industry just was put on pause. I mean, just make sure you have that money set aside. And you can usually do that if you're investing on a regular basis by maybe, skip a couple months where you don't put new money in, put that into, maybe building your emergency fund just a little bit bigger, and then go back to your investing pattern just to make sure that you don't have that panic sale.
Well, I think the key there is to have the emergency fund. And if you've got a bunch of money and very aggressive stuff and you don't have the emergency fund built, I think you're building the house wrong anyway. I mean,
So, but they can fix that now. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Is not everyone, in a perfect world, everyone already has that, but we don't want to be lecturing people. We don't want to be telling people what they should have, could have, would have, whatever done. It's okay. Do it now.
I want to speak to what Emmett's saying over on Twitter, which is some gold in the portfolio would make sense. When I was a financial planner, Bobby, we would put together all kinds of model portfolios, and it was interesting to see that if you put natural resources in general, gold maybe specifically, or precious metals, if you had a small allocation of that, maybe even just 3 or 4% allocation to that, just a little pepper in the chili, something that's just a little bit different. What we found was that it slowed, believe it or not, it slowed volatility in the portfolio, even though gold on a daily basis can be a lot more volatile and for weird reasons than the stock market can. It is so different than the stock market that it really calmed down a portfolio without killing it. I mean, if you go 30% or 40% gold, horrible idea. Just gold moves for such weird reasons and in such strange times that it doesn't make sense to have a lot of it. But to have just a little bit in a portfolio really was interesting to see how it would calm down your results, even though it could be volatile on its own.
Yes, I think that's a genius idea. Diversification,
Let's
right? Diversification.
absolutely. In just a moment, Bobby and I are going to have our takeaways from today's piece. But before we do that, just want to say a big thanks to people that have used Tiller to manage their expenses. Microsoft Money is coming back. And I know there's a bunch of older money geeks that are super excited about that. And there's a bunch of younger money geeks that probably should be excited about that, because money nerds rejoiced when Microsoft decided to turn this back on. Now they're going to use Excel as their backdrop, and Tiller Money said that's super cool, to put it technically, because of the fact that now Tiller will interface with Microsoft Money. So how does that work? You now have Microsoft Money as your template. You can change the template however you want. Tiller will automatically put your transactions from all your different places, whether it's money you owe, savings that you have, put them all into Microsoft Excel for you, and then you can personalize it however the heck you want. So whether you're using Google Sheets, using Excel, using Microsoft Money, just using one of the Tiller templates that are out there, head to tillerhq.com/MWF. You can kick the tires for 30 days, see how much you like it. And if you do like it and used our link, they'll send you a thank you when you subscribe. So big thanks to people who've used our link when they've used Tiller. Bobby, what is our takeaway from this discussion?
So this line rings true. We didn't really emphasize this so much in the show, so I'm glad I get to bring it up now. Quote, much of this could be seen as market deepening were it not for one troubling fact. Corporate and economic fundamentals have yet to reflect a sustained and convincing recovery from COVID-related damage. So I do want people to think about that. If it's long-term retirement investing, absolutely stick with your plan. But look, if you have all the buckets, all your life savings in, let's say, an index fund, you could think about maybe some kind of asset reallocation. Maybe consider, if it's a substantial amount of money, if it's your entire life savings, maybe see a professional and put up some risk mitigators in there, like options, so that you do have some protection on the downside if you've got your life savings in the market and you're going to get nervous. Because let's face it, an index fund is not diversification. And I just want people to understand that. It doesn't mean you have to make radical moves. Just understand, if all of your money is in an S&P 500 index fund, it is not diversified. And just think about it. Think about it.
It is interesting, because I think that but to your point, Bobby, it's not about the markets, it's about you, right? And so while these ideas of 100% stock historically over long periods of time are fantastic ideas, if you can't withstand that roller coaster ride and you're going to worry about your money all the time, it's not about what the market does. It's about this money's a fuel for your goals. So don't do that if you can't withstand the ride. That said, I think my big takeaway, Bobby, is on the other end. Realize why pros are getting ready. Pros have different motivation than you do. Your goal is to reach a certain goal, and to pull your money out based on what the market does over the short term for a goal that's 15 years away doesn't make any sense. Look at any chart and it will show you that even though the Mr. Market will go up and down quite a bit over the short run, over long periods of time, 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to be much further ahead. So just ignore whatever's going on in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks and focus on that long-term goal and what assets have got you there. And I think that also pulls you through this instead of, worrying about the fact that the pros are starting to build some defenses.
I think that's such an important point. Your goals are not the same goals as a pro who's managing to the quarter or to the year and against an index. So that's something really important to think about. And like I said, I learned in March. I mean, a lot of people forgot the market really took a dive. I had issues. I got really scared. I'm just being honest.
No,
that even me, I mean,
it's completely
it is what it is.
You. It is completely about you and how you respond to that. And you need to build a portfolio around your ability to sleep at night.
But I will tell you, I'm happy I put more money in at that time.
That's good.
I'm happy about that.
How do people help us make this show, Bobbi?
First of all, make sure you're following us on all of our social channels because we now are able to record the show on both Twitter, which is at Money Friends Pod, and on our YouTube channel, and on Facebook, we're at I Stack Benjamins because of our wonderful affiliation with the Stacking Benjamins show. Key in that is YouTube, because if you go to YouTube, Money with Friends, you can get the links to the stories that we're talking about. So it's really important to be subscribed to our YouTube channel because that's the easiest place to get the links. And we don't have time usually to read the entire story. In this way, you can read it directly yourself. And so it's a really good thing. And we want everyone to get the benefit of reading the entire story. And of course, you can learn more about the show on our website, moneywithfriendspodcast.com. And our Instagram is also at Money Friends Pod, same as our Twitter.
Speaking of stories, man, do we have an ugly story for you coming up on Monday. A financial advisor, scams $300,000 from a senior. What happened and how do you make sure that you don't get scammed? We'll talk about that on Monday's Money with Friends. She's Bobbi. I'm Joe. We'll see you back here on Monday. Bye-bye. 17 minutes.
Okay, getting closer.
All right, guys.
We're trying to get to 15, guys. So I was scared in March, though. It's true. I was really having a freak out. And I had some money that we had to sell something for compliance issues with my husband's job. So we did have some money on the sidelines in one of his accounts. And I did reinvest it in that time. And I'm glad. Not the entire thing, but I reinvested a chunk of it. And but it was hard, Joe. It was hard. I was very nervous. So
I just have, it's pretty ridiculous though. I have a, most of my money is diversified and invested responsibly. And then I have my Play account. My Play stocks are up 12% in the past week and a half.
Yeah. What do you own? Tesla, Microsoft, Apple.
I own Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, the usual, usual suspects, but it's stupid. It just is stupid. And it's funny, you look at that.
But those are also good companies. So that's the thing. Let's remember, a lot of what they're alluding to, see, this is the bonus behind the scenes, is that the stock market is being held up by those companies that really have not been negatively impacted by COVID, right? Think about Microsoft Teams. I mean, there's nothing about Microsoft that gets hit by COVID that I can think of at this moment. But yet other companies are being hit, even if it's just through inventory. There's a lot of consumer companies that people might be buying the products, but they can't source it, right? So they're losing sales because of that. But when you get to the companies that you just mentioned, all is well.
Absolutely.
Congratulations,
Ron, by the way, 23 days. Well, it sounds like he's looking forward to something new. So that's it. This can be an exciting time for Ron.
Sorry, Ron.
We've got next piece. In fact, I'm going to go back into Twitter and because the feed moves so fast. Let's retweet this again.
Yeah, I think so. We just learned, for those of you joining us, that we're on. Yeah, and we're getting responses. We've learned, number one, how to put this out on Twitter. That's new. And now we've realized that what we can do is we can share it.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome. If you just joined us, welcome to a live recording. This is our second recording. We're recording for next Monday's show. She's Bobbi. I'm Joe. And you are part of our live Money with Friends audio podcast recording on Westwood One. So subscribe to the show. It's free to subscribe, and or just hang out here with us. And you can catch us at weird times like 7:45 a.m. Eastern.
I don't know. I feel like this is a good time. Well, first of all, it's now 8. It's now 8. It's after 8 a.m.
It is, but we started at 7:45.
We did. We did.
So fun.
But you guys can join at any time.
Fun stuff. Chris Mamula hanging out with us, by the way, on Twitter, and just asked what happened to my map. Chris, I've been moving. We're gone. So the map is packed away. We are in East Lansing, Michigan today and tomorrow. We'll be in Texas the next couple days, and then hitting up a bunch of national parks on our way to Palm Springs, California for a month. Because I heard it's nice and cool there too, like it is in Vermont, right? Maybe not. Maybe 106 degrees. Who knows? All right, Bobbi, you ready to go?
What happened? Oh, he's asking what happened to your background
my map.
map.
Yes, that I don't have my super professional map. All right.
Okay. Are we doing this? I'm sorry. I'm busy with Twitter now. See, this is too much multitasking, guys, with all these new toys that we have with our new Restream. So we switched it to a different streaming platform a few weeks ago, and we're having a lot of fun with Restream.
I was reading my friend Austin Kleon's newsletter yesterday, and he was talking about the scroll of death. And about how people, he's like, my days have gotten better when I don't do the scroll of death. He gets up, not get up in the morning and just start scrolling.
I know.
Like you just saw, it's this trap.
I know.
It's ugly.
All right. We should do a show.
Ron can't watch anymore. Ron, go away. Ron needs to go away. Go blue. It's just,
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
It means he's a University of Michigan fan, which is disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting.
Why?
And I like Ron so much, but he can't watch anymore.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
I feel like a lot of people, we've gotten a bunch of comments that they like this time. This is interesting. Sarah, Lori, they both like the time.
You and I like this time. I'm not going to like this time in 2 weeks when I'm in California. I'm not going to like this time. I'm not getting up at 4:45 a.m.
No, but that's only a few weeks. But we could do evening. But people are saying they don't like it because that they like it that it's not part of their workday. So we could do evening.
Pass.
We could try to do some evening shows. No.
You can do evening shows. I hate doing evening shows.
All right. Well,
you like doing mornings. So mornings are on, but mornings
are good. So, But in a few months, when you settle into your final destination, which I don't know if you've revealed yet, right? Then we could probably do early mornings.
Yes, that's a deal. I'm into that.
Yes, and I'll be up because my child will be in virtual school, on Zoom school. Yes.
We got Mike's here, Justin's here, Sarah's here.
See, people like not being during the workday, so we got to work on that. That does make sense.
Yeah. Ron is correct. I'm living the map. Lori's back. I haven't talked to Lori in a while. Hey, Lori.
There are all of these job things, Joe.
Job gets in the way of hanging out with friends. What's up with that?
All right.
Let's do this. Show. This is for Monday, whatever day. What day is Monday? 4, 5, 6, 7. 4,
I should write that down.
8.
I still have August 31st in my script.
I think it's the 8th. It's the 8th.
And also the month has changed. It's now September. September 8th. No, Monday is September 7th.
Okay. Good deal.
Okay.
All right.
White Collar Crime Watch will share a serious case of an advisor stealing from an elderly client and how you can avoid being next. It is Monday, September 7th. Let's talk money with our friends. Welcome to the Money with Friends podcast. I am certified financial planner, Bobbi Rebell, host of the Financial Grown Up podcast, coming to you from my very grown up kitchen in New York City.
And coming to you from Mom's Half Finished Basement in East Lansing, Michigan. Go green. We're Make the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe Salcy. Hi.
This is the Money News Show that includes commentary on recent headlines and stories with thought leaders from across the financial landscape. We break those stories down into what matters to you, our friends, and we leave you with a takeaway to make it your own.
Today's show is brought to you by NordPass. Money with friends, friends. You all get a deal on NordPass's 2-year plan. You'll get a month free and 50% now. What is NordPass? It helps you get rid of password stress forever. You also get some premium features, 30-day money-back guarantee. Have all your passwords in one place. Head to nordpass.com/MWF for your special discount just because you hang out with Bobbi and I. Speaking of Bobbi, how you doing, Bobbi? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It is Labor Day. We are, working hard on a holiday.
Yes, working so you don't have to. You're welcome,
Yes.
people. Yes, you're welcome, America. You're welcome, the rest of the world that has Labor Day on a different day. We're working hard here, laboring to make sure people don't get ripped off. This is so sad,
Yes.
the story we're going to talk about.
It is.
It's
And it keeps happening.
Yes.
It's so sad.
Let's dive into it. Let's see which one of our friends is going to help us kick off today's show. All right, today's piece comes to us from investmentnews.com. The Securities and Exchange Commission charges a Connecticut hybrid advisor with stealing $300,000 from client. Securities and Exchange Commission has filed an emergency action charging hybrid advisor Matthew O. Clausen of Cheshire, Connecticut, with stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from an advisory client. In its action, the Securities and Exchange Commission seeks an asset freeze, permanent injunction relief, and disgorgement, plus prejudgment interest and civil penalties. Bobbi?
The SEC alleges that beginning in February of 2019, Clausen stole more than $300,000 from a retired 73-year-old advisory client. According to the complaint, Clausen liquidated securities in the client's accounts, transferring the proceeds of the sales to a bank account he held jointly with the client for investment purposes and to facilitate the payment of miscellaneous monthly expenses. Clausen withdrew cash from the account on numerous occasions and at different bank locations. The complaint alleges that the client did not know of or approve the withdrawals and did not receive the cash that Clausen withdrew. As a registered representative, he's affiliated with LPL Financial of Glastonbury, Connecticut. He is also an investment advisor with Integrated Wealth Concepts, also of Glastonbury. So,
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
ooh.
this idea of a hybrid advisor means that he has licenses here with two different firms, and he can do two different things. Number one is he can be just a straight up fee only advisor where he gives advice and collects a fee. But this is the key, and this is where the client ran into trouble. He can also make the trades for a client. He can jump into their account and help them do things. Often, clients will find something that's called will sign something called a discretionary account signature, which means that they're giving discretion to the advisor. So, which means the advisor can just go make changes without notifying them. Now, those changes, Bobbi, don't mean that the advisor can withdraw money, right? They can't withdraw money, but the second that your advisor asks for discretion is usually the first end, the very top end of a slippery slope that can turn into something like this.
Well, yes, but remember, if someone is managing your money, I think that you have to have some kind of trust. You can't have them necessarily always it just depends on your comfort level with this person, and it comes down to human trust and human behavior. And this is really tricky because in this case, you had someone who was a criminal, allegedly, and was literally taking the money out. You can't do that. What you should do is you should have double notifications where you're notified both, through emails, through text or whatever, whenever any action takes place in your account. And that would at least raise alarm bells. And, it says retired 73-year-old advisory client. There's plenty of 73-year-olds, most I might say, that are totally sharp. There's no indication here whether this client was aware of any, clearly they didn't give permission, but you can set up, especially if you have older relatives or loved ones, that you can also be notified when there's mischievous behavior in an account. I know a lot of banks right now do a wonderful job. I've talked about, it's ironic we have NordPass as our sponsor right now. I've talked about the fact that my account was hacked, my just generic bank, my email account and then my credit card. And literally the minute someone tried to make, it was, the first warning was a 63-cent charge. I guess they were testing it. The bank that holds the credit card immediately notified me before putting that through. I wish these companies would have something like that, where there's something that seems off, and like withdrawing your client's money, that would seem off, and notifying that person, and ideally a backup person, like
Yeah.
a wife, a child, someone that has a vested interest in protecting this 73-year-old advisory client, so that there was some red flags going up. And at least, even though you might not be able to stop the very first instance of it, it can be clamped down on pretty quickly.
You can request that somebody else gets either a loved one gets access to your account so they can monitor what's going on inside your account, or that they get paper statements along with you, right? I know a lot of people are going away from paper statements, but maybe having that paper trail for an older relative in the family is going to allow somebody else to help them go through these things, because it's very difficult for the company, like in this case, LPL Financial, to know that there's some nefarious stuff going on. They don't have any idea. It is a joint account, maybe set up with good intentions. Both of them decided to do it. Now, having a joint account with your advisor is always a mistake. Bill is hanging out with us on Facebook right now. Bill said, "No one touching my money, advice only, please." I know a lot of people hired me as their advisor, and the team of people that I worked with, we didn't have discretion. But if you and I, let's say, Bobbi, you were my client, we advise you to make 6 different moves in an account, just a freedom from you having to do the just pain in the ass, get in there and do it. You could say, yes, go do it. And I would have your permission to make those moves, but you had to be in on every single thing that happened. My clients never had gave me joint access though. Joint access meant that it's partly my money. It's almost a gift. If it's a joint account, then I'm gifting. It's partly my money too, which you do not want. You do not want to do that.
And that's why he could withdraw the money. That's exactly. I mean, you pointed out exactly the red flag. It should never have been in a joint account.
Yeah. Giving somebody the ability to make moves on your behalf, I don't think is always bad. I think if you're somebody that doesn't mind going in and making the trades yourself, then great. Fine, do it that way. By the way, these investors are also protected, right? There is insurance on accounts through major firms called SIPC insurance. SIPC insurance is specifically there in case your broker does something like this and runs off with your money. That protects against. So there is a check and balance here. If you do have an advisor that makes trades for you and then runs off with your money. In this case, though, the older client, if they signed a wrong, if the advisor is able to prove, hey, this, we're going to share their money with me and it's my money too, which is why in this case, I think FINRA and the Securities and Exchange Commission got involved, because if the client didn't know any of the stuff that they were signing, well, then we certainly have a problem. Sarah also asked, do you think he's always been a crook or he just lost his mind? I think there's a way for people to look into that. There's a thing called broker check. FINRA has a thing called broker check where you can look at their record. You can also, you can request, every person that has the ability to trade has a permanent record that you can go in and look at. You can see any complaints. You can see any problems that they have. When you look at their permanent record, it will also show things like, as an example, if somebody who can trade stocks defaults on their mortgage, it shows up in their permanent record. If they've ever had a bankruptcy, shows up in their permanent record. So for some of these people, it's strange how often when there's a case like this, I don't know the background in this particular case because it's brand new news that we just heard about. But when the facts come out, in many, many cases, Bobbi, you find some financial desperation on the part of the advisor, and they were having personal problems of their own, and they were, quote, borrowing, right, your money to solve their own personal problem, which is horrible. If you look up broker check first and look at their permanent record, you're not going to cut it off at the pass every time, but that's certainly a place to look.
And this is also a case for everyone, just talking with your loved ones when you make investment decisions, because we don't know who this person's circle of trusted, relatives or friends are. But if he had a wife or if he has children that maybe, have a vested interest in making sure he's financially secure, just discussing with them, gee, my broker says we should open a joint account so he can, make these investments and I don't have to worry about doing all the logistics that you just talked about, Joe. Maybe that child might say, well, you don't really need to be in a joint account for them to do that. You can just give them access to your account to make trades that you've authorized. You don't have to give them a joint account where you're effectively giving them joint ownership of your money. They're very different things.
Agreed.
It's a question of who is the owner of that account. And it sounds like this person, the victim here, gave the advisor ownership of the account. Yeah. And that's where things went wrong. That's why he was allowed to withdraw the money.
That's absolutely horrible. Hey, in just a moment, Bobbi and I are going to have our takeaways from today's discussion. But first, want to thank everybody who used our link when they went and checked out NordPass. By the way, if you use our link, we've got a very special deal that you can't get going through the front door. On their 2-year plan, you're going to get 50% off and 1 month free. You'll also have, of course, their 30-day money-back guarantee. But what is NordPass? Well, NordPass helps you get rid of password stress forever. It's effortless password management. In a world run by passwords, managing them can be a pain if you're going to do it right. You don't want to have one password for everything. You want to make sure that if crooks get into your account, they only can get into one account and you can stop the bleeding there. So not only do they make very difficult passwords automatically so you don't have to drum up another one all the time. But second, they also store them securely so that you have your complete financial house in one protected spot, created by the experts behind NordVPN. NordPass uses powerful, and I don't know what this is, but it's XChaCha20 encryption. Sounds awful. On zero knowledge architecture to create a centralized vault for your most private information. By awful, I mean awful for crooks. XChaCha20 encryption in a zero knowledge architecture. Check it out yourself, nordpass.com/MWF. And as I mentioned, you'll get your special treatment because you hang out with us. So loving it, Bobbi. This was something I'm not loving is this piece though. What's our big takeaway here?
I think it's all about checks and balances and maybe including people that have a vested interest in protecting you in your financial decisions and having them weigh in and just making sure other people know what's going on so that you don't get taken advantage of. Because the truth is we all think we're not vulnerable to this, but sometimes people take time, they get to know us. We think they're our friends. We think that they're out to protect us as well. I'm sure this, crooked, presumably, because it's alleged, investment advisor gained this victim's trust, maybe over a long period of time. Maybe he thought it was his friend doing this and he trusted him. But at the end of the day, you have to be very careful who you trust. And therefore, I would just include other people in investment decisions so that people that you know have your back.
Yeah, and I think this is where talking about your money really makes sense. You don't have to share specifics of everything, but just sharing what's going on in your financial life with someone else who's not just the professional makes a bunch of sense. Certainly, there's a ton of professionals out there who have your best interest at heart. They want to do the right thing. But we have these stories, Bobbi, 3 or 4 times a year, which means that there are some bad people out there. And the way to protect yourself is to bring other people in a little bit. This is another case where I feel so bad that we don't talk about money, right? It's this taboo for whatever reason that we don't talk about it. And maybe having a loved one helping this person out might have helped them from crossing that line of sharing their money with their advisor.
And a lot of people that get scammed don't report it because they're so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Too.
Agreed. Coming up tomorrow, Bobbi, you have another one of our thought leaders hanging out with us. Who's hanging out with you tomorrow?
Jamila Souffrant.
Awesome.
From Journey to Launch. She's amazing. And she's got a bunch of really cool projects happening this fall. So I'm excited to hear about them.
And you guys are going to have a couple of great conversations the next couple of days. So I will be back later on in the week as well. She is Bobbi. I'm Joe. We'll see you back here next time at Money with Friends. Bye-bye. 15.
Yeah.
Nice job, guys. Thanks, Bill. Happy Labor Day weekend to you as well. and to everybody else. All right, we did it.
Bye.
We're off to next activity. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.